Hello, I'm Scott Bulgy here with your Cage Warriors athlete, Michael Blair, ahead of his Cage Warriors 193 fight against Grant Ogborne. How you doing today?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Thanks for having me on.
And what do you feel like your strengths are in this matchup?
Uh, I think in this one, I'm just looking to kind of show my all-round MMA game.
Yeah,
I think Grant's quite a good, kind of well-rounded fighter himself. Has some mission wins, has a lot of kickboxing experience. I can strike, I can grapple, so I think it will just be a really good all-round MMA contest.
exactly. And you are being able to fight in Newcastle along with a lot of different Scottish fighters like Reid McEwen, Chris Bungard. How does it how does it feel to be able to fight in a card we may not be in the hometown, but has got a lot of Scottish fighters on there?
Yeah, it's always great to share the card with other Scottish fighters. Me and Chris have done a
Yeah.
bunch of training together for this fight, as always. Even when you're in the changing room and it's just familiar faces. It's always good. Even a lot of the Geordie guys like Andrew Fisher, I've trained a bunch with Fisher. It'll be good to see all the TFT guys in the changing room. So yeah, even though it's down in Newcastle, I'm sure it's going to feel like a home show still.
And you guys really show your togetherness, not even just around in the gyms for that, but when even in the arenas. I remember it was your last fight against Mafias. You were in the cage fighting, and Chris Bungard was doing interviews, and he was still just having one eye on the camera, one eye on the TV screen, just seeing what was happening. Do you feel like that
Yeah, that's
helped
it.
you? Do you feel like that just helped you guys knowing you're all there for each other?
Yeah, definitely. We're all it's a close knit team.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? We've been there for each other through. Well, Chris has been there for me through the full my full fight career since I first walked into the gym. Kind of took me under his wing, so to speak. So it's always you hate watching your friends fight, but you love when they get the
yeah.
win, when they manage to do well. It's up there with as good a feeling as you can get, just as good as you winning yourself, because you know how much work they've put in it. So yeah, it's just everyone you train with, everyone you're kind of friends and you meet along the way in this journey. You really root for them, and you can see that in the yeah in those wee instances, like you said.
Now, going back to that last fight, what was your feeling when you found out that unfortunately Reese wasn't able to compete and you were being bumped up to that co-main event slot? What was the feeling going into you knowing that it is just such a big opportunity on the co-main?
Yeah, it was a great feeling to know that yeah, kind of Cage Warriors have trusted me that
Yeah,
they put me in that kind of co-main event position. Um, I knew the fight was going to be kind of exciting. It was always going to be that way with the two of our styles. I didn't put too much into it because I kind of knew. I felt so sorry for Reese as well. I couldn't imagine. Well, I've had a fight pulled on the day before as well, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. So I was gutted for him, but I didn't try to make too much, build up too much in my head. I know it's once you get in there, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. It doesn't matter if it's Saturday night, Tuesday morning, fucking Sunday afternoon. As soon as you get punched, you're going to react the same way. You're going to do the same stuff. So you can let it stress you out, or you can just take it as it comes. So I was just trying to kind of focus on that. Grateful for the opportunity, but just make sure I was trying to make sure it didn't affect me too much
yeah.
performance wise.
And it does look like the Cave Warriors have listened to us and got us a lot of opportunities for Scottish fighters. You've got you guys coming in Newcastle. Then there's a lot of guys coming over to Rome in October. You have Aidan Stephen, you have Igor, you've got Jack Footy. Scottish fighters just taking over the Cage Warriors scene left, right, and centre. How long do you feel like it will be until we get a Cage Warriors champion from Scotland?
It's really just a matter of time. You see, Bungard fought for the belt, Reese fought for the belt,
Yeah,
both were unlucky. Um, we've got Sean Clancy, who's champ on the door. Um, Igor with a couple fights could be up there. In lightweight, we've got a bunch of guys fighting now. We've got myself, obviously Bungard. We've got Jordan, Ryan, all try to put streaks together, work towards the belt. So really, it's a matter of time. There was so long there was barely any Scottish fighters in
yeah.
Cage Warriors. There was a handful, and now there's what 10, 12, all representing. So yeah, as you said, next step, Cage Warriors champ for Scotland.
And what did you make of Ryan and Campbell's fight in the Glasgow? Because it did, while it was a foul, he didn't mean to actually throw it. Do you feel like it probably should have been a no contest more than a DQ?
Yeah, I was honestly absolutely heartbroken for him. Ryan's one of the hardest workers you'll ever come across, and he's got no malice in his body in that sense. When he's in there, he's going to be
Yeah,
competing to the best of his ability, but he definitely never throw anything illegal intentionally. Um, Listen, if his opponent says he couldn't continue, you have to
yeah.
believe that he couldn't continue kind of stuff. But like you said, I thought it should have been a no contest. Um, yeah, it was just really unfortunate because Ryan was winning that fight. He was up 2 rounds. He was starting to dominate the third a little bit. So I'd like to see that one again. I think Sean Fraser was looking to fight me for a bit there. So I'd take that fight after this as well. Uh, but I think Ryan really wants that one back talking to him. So I'd be interested in watching that back as well.
And with a win here, you have got the door wide open for you once again. That'll be you 3-1 in the last four fights, and you are in a jam-packed division. You've got the champion currently fighting in the contender series, you got interim champ, but then you have also got a lot of interesting matchups in between. Like you've got the guy who beat Teddy Stringer, you've
Mm-hmm.
got Cullen, you have Hardwick available, you have Power. What is it about the lightweight division that just brings so many killers together?
That's a great question. It doesn't matter what organisation, it always seems to be the lightweights of the
Yeah,
kind of the show, so to speak. They've got there's always seems to be the deepest division, whether that's the UFC, whether that's Cage Warriors. It must just be the kind of average size guy. There's too many guys are about 6 foot and weigh 70 odd kilo. Um, yeah, like you said, action packed, lots of names in the lightweight division. So it'll be interesting to see how the kind of title picture shapes up with Silver fighting in the contender series and who's going to kind of fight for the belt with the interim champ. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how that pans out after this one, and hopefully can start moving up the kind of ranking, so to speak, and hopefully get an opportunity for that soon.
and do you feel like Cade Warriors kind of missed our boat a little bit about coming back to Glasgow this year? I know they were in here earlier on in the year, but they have only made one trip, where last year it was two. Do you feel like they could have got one more trip in?
Uh, I'm not. I'm not sure. It would have been good to fight at home again. Um, I know the second one last year didn't sell as much as
Yeah.
the ones in April both times. So I don't know if they maybe came back a little too soon. Hopefully they come back at the end of the year. December would be perfect if they come back for one last bang, so to speak. Um, but yeah, I'm happy to fight wherever. It's nice. I've fought 3 times in a row over head, so it's nice to venture slightly further afield, even though it's Newcastle, and experience different atmospheres. And the Geordie crowd are always mental as well, so it's nice to tick that off the bucket list.
And what are you doing to celebrate this victory?
Oh, for this one, I'll just be eating. Oh, I can't wait, man. Oh, I've got a pizza calling my name. I've been dieting hard, training really hard for this. Probably the best shape I've ever been in. I know every fighter says that for every fight, but this one it really is true. Worked really hard, done a lot of hard graft, strict with my diet, so I think I'll be going straight to whatever fast food place is open after this fight anyway.
I'm not sure what Reese or Bungard is doing, but we should just get an absolute buffet and just have an eating contest. Just see who's
Oh
the
mate,
champ in that.
oh definitely. You organise that, I'll be game, 100%.
And obviously, it is the Geordie crowd. You are against the Englishmen. Do you feel like it is going to be a little bit between Scotland v England in there? Or do you feel like because he's mostly from down south of England, is a bit, you're kind of meeting in the middle?
It'll be interesting to be fair. I'm not quite sure how it'll go. As you said, he's kind of from further down south. Geordies and Scottish are kind of
Yeah.
close linked, so to speak. I know a lot of the guys from Fisher's Gym, so I'm sure I've got a bit of support from some of the English from Newcastle as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think. Listen, as long as there's noise, I'm happy. As long as there's screaming, booing, cheering, fucking whatever. Doesn't matter if it's for me or if it's for the other guy. As long as there's noise happening during the fight, then I'm happy. If it's quiet, it'll be a bit gutting.
And what do you make for in the UFC about your division? Ilya is currently the champ. Who do you feel like is the next contender? And what did you make of Gamrot calling out Armin today?
Well, I didn't know he called him out again.
Yeah,
Um,
he said he talked about how he was offered him in a grappling match once again. they obviously want to see him fight Armin. Let's do it in the cage instead.
Well, their fight was amazing. Their first fight, that was one of the best grappling kind of MMA fights I've ever watched. Um, it's a little bit of logjam in the lightweight division. I think people just have to start accepting fights.
Yeah,
That's the kind of the answer, so to speak. Everyone's kind of waiting for opportunities, but if everyone's waiting, the opportunities don't come. I think probably Armin should be fighting earlier. Um, if the UFC don't want to give him it, then I think they should just make probably the Gaethje fight, make Armin fight Paddy, and then you've got your winners fight each other, so to speak. I know Dan Hooker's looking to fight stuff like that. Oliveira as well. He's fighting soon. So yeah, it's a great problem. There's some great matchups in that division. You just want to see them get made now rather than all
yeah.
hypotheticals.
And how good is it that you have a guy like Chris Duncan doing his thing currently in the UFC, going out there and getting the wins, not just the wins, but in absolute fantastic style.
Oh yeah, it's really inspiring to be fair. I've known Chris for years. I've trained with him a bunch. Um, him and Robert Whiteford doing a lot of training with Robert Whiteford for this fight, who was in his corner, but
Yeah.
doing a lot of work with Chris. So looking at how hard those guys train, the standards and that they can hold in the gym, it's pushed me to another level recently for this fight anyway. But knowing that that's a level in the gym that I'm having to keep up with, and you can see how that shows on the night, kind of worldwide now. Chris should be getting someone top 15, top 20 next. So you know if you're that's the level I need to get to, and it's kind of and within touching distance, so to speak. So it's yeah, really, really inspiring seeing someone from this area doing that well on the world stage.
And do you feel like we are coming to starting, mostly with Cave Warriors, but there is out with, we are starting to see that next generation breakthrough to try to get Cave UFC back to Glasgow. You've also got Paul Craig and Chris Duncan in the UFC so far. You've got Sean Clancy, you've got Ryan Campbell, you've got yourself coming through the ranks. Do you feel like we could probably get the UFC to come to maybe like a high draw of that?
I would. It'd be amazing if they could. Um, I think realistically we're probably maybe a year or two away.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think they'll come back next year. I think it'll maybe be 2027. Really. Um, yeah, it would be amazing. That'd be a dream come true to fight in the UFC and the Hydro, obviously. Hopefully Paul's still about for that. Yeah, Paul Craig on the card again.
yeah.
I'm sure Sean Clancy's within touch and distance of the UFC now. Chris Duncan, maybe a couple other guys on the come
And
up as well. Myself, hopefully, but yeah, everyone's starting to break through now. So hopefully in the next couple of years we'll see that next stage kind of reach the world level.
and how big do you feel like Paul Craig has been able to help Sean in just bringing him over to Vegas for the fights that he has? Be able to sample the UFC matchmakers, being able to sample the crowd, so that is a bit more familiarity for when he does eventually make that walk.
Well, listen, it'll make a massive difference. I went over for the UFC to corner Paul twice. I went in
Yeah,
Abu Dhabi and Fight Island and once in Arizona. And there's nothing that can prepare you until you see it. Like it was like walking out to the Coliseum, the one in Arizona. There was people screaming and shouting. There was just like levels and levels of people, and they're all always looking at Paul, obviously. But I'm standing right behind him, going, "Fucking hell, that's a bit intense." But like, I'm sure Sean will say the same. Like it prepares you so much. Just getting used to that, even though it's not you who's at the forefront of it,
yeah.
you're experiencing that as well. You know what the fight week's like. You're interacting with other fighters that you've just watched on TV. It's not such a freak experience when you see John Jones walk about, or you see Dominic Cruz having his lunch. You're not like, fucking hell, is Dominic Cruz? Like, it becomes a bit standard now. Um, so yeah, I'm sure that will be paying absolute dividends for Sean Clancy. And yeah, you can see that in his performances, cool, calm, collected, and doing really well for himself.
And from what you were saying earlier on, it sounds like you want to get in there, come out there healthy, and then get another fight before the end of the year. Is that kind of the route that you're wanting to go down?
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, get one for the end of the year. I'd like to just stay as active as possible. The last, in an ideal world, I would have had one before this. I just had a couple, obviously, cuts from the
Yeah,
last fight just to wait up and just to wait and heal up. Um, so if everything goes well this fight, no major injuries, I'd like probably one more before the end of the year. If I can't get that, early next year and try and get 3 or 4 in 2026. Just try and stay as active as possible.
And do you feel like if you were able to do that, potentially could maybe even squeeze into the contender series next year? Because you get that, you win this fight, you are moving up to 5-3. You get one before the end of the year, 6-3, and then if you can get two more, either March and then the summertime, you can potentially be up to 8-3 going into that contender series next. Do you feel like that
Yeah,
could be a realistic possibility?
yeah. That's in an ideal world that'd be that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Um, every fighter says it, activity is key. Like
Yeah,
it makes the world of difference. The past couple of years, I've managed to get 2, 3 a year. You can see it in my performances getting kind of smoother every time. Um, so yeah, it's just staying active, racking up a couple of wins, and then as you said, if I can get maybe 3 or 4 wins before the end of summer next year, you're champing on the door, and that's all we can do really. Just throw your name in the hat, and then if it gets picked, ideal. But as long as you're putting your name out there, then what's the worst? What's the worst that can happen?
and where has been the best place you've travelled to for training?
For training, we've been to a bunch of different gyms in the UK. Down to Fishers is always good rounds. Down to Manchester top team, great rounds. Um, yeah, even in Scotland, there's a bunch of great gyms depending on what you're going for. If you're
Yeah,
looking for jiu-jitsu rounds over at Marcus's, it's always tough rounds. Training with different gyms here. You've got the Hit Squad, you've got Progress with Chris, training with Whiteford. Uh, yeah, there's really high level rounds everywhere you go, and not having to travel too far, which is also a blessing in kind of recent times.
and what do you feel like has been your toughest test?
Toughest test. Last fight was a bit gutting, just because I thought I kind of lost. That guy was good, but I lost. I don't think I would have the same outcome would have happened if my eye didn't get kind of shut over.
Yeah,
Nothing you can do about it. He threw a punch, my eye closed over. There's nothing you can do about it. But I think in the first round I was doing really well. I felt cool, calm, collected in there. That was a bit gutting. So it's just kind of come to terms with no matter how much work you're doing and how good you're doing. Sometimes it's just that it's not your day. Um, like I said before, all you can do is kind of put your name out there. You step in front of the lights, you step into the crowd,
yeah,
or sorry, into the cage in front of the crowd. You try your best. Sometimes it's going to work out brilliant for you. Sometimes it's not. It's just making sure you're willing to step in there every time anyway,
yeah.
regardless of the result.
And we can't wait to see you get in there and face the Grant, and it's going to be fight of the night contender. We can't wait to see you get that victory as well, and see you hopefully by the end of the year. Is there anything you're wanting to add, or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
No, that was perfect, mate. Just all my training partners, everyone at the Hit Squad, everyone at Progress MMA. Yeah, everyone who's helped me out for this fight camp. Some of my sponsors, Hypertech, Jamie Green, uh, Starfish, some of the boys been kind of sticking with us. Chrissy Patterson, strength and conditioning. Um, yeah, everyone's helped out a lot. Looking forward to getting in there in a couple of weeks.
No, I can't wait to see you get in there, and it's going to be a great fight. Thank you so much.